What's up, biker bros? This is Nathan. Today I'm going to be reviewing the 2019 Harley Davidson Fat Bob. This is the 114 engine, so let's do this. Like I said, this is the Harley Davidson Fat Bob. It's the 114 engine. The base model engine is a 107. This is the upgraded model. You pay a few extra bucks for this. And the color that I'm on right now is actually a special edition color known as Scorched Orange. Honestly, I'm not a big orange guy, but I actually really like the color of this paint. It really pops up against this liquid black paint. This bike also comes in vivid black, black denim, wicked red denim, Bonneville salt, which is like a matte white, rawhead denim, which is a copper, and then this is a special edition scorched orange, as I said. Now, for those of you that are curious of the cc of this motor, this is basically an 1800 cc motor in the 114 Fat Bob. The intake on this is a high flow intake. Basically, they took this bike and they said, okay, let's make a more performance style softail, and that's what came out of this bike. Now, you might be asking, okay, well, what about the Harley Davidson FXDR, Nathan? The FXDR is a great bike, but the seating position of that bike is much more of like a sport bike type feel, whereas this is more so a cruiser. You've got the upright seating position, but it's extremely sporty. For the power to weight ratio on this bike is unlike many bikes that you've probably ever ridden. Like I said, it's a 114, and it actually has, I think, 118 feet-pounds of torque, which, for motorcycles, that's a good amount of torque. Harley fam right there. Oh no, that's a shadow. So it's got 118 feet-pounds of torque, which is a lot of torque. A lot of people say, oh, well, how much horsepower does it have? Horsepower doesn't really make a difference for motorcycles. There's our Harley fam right there. I knew I recognized the sound. Harley actually has the sound of their Harley Davidson pipes trademarked, if I remember correctly, which is pretty freaking cool. Basically, no one else can use the sound of a Harley in videos or movies, whatever it is, unless they have the given permission from Harley Davidson. But now going back to the bike we're on right now, the 114 Fat Bob. So when they redesigned this bike, they did a few different things that a lot of younger people are really enjoying about this bike in comparison to some of the older Harleys. So for example, this Harley Davidson right here, a lot of your Sportster models, your other models have that big solid headlight in the front. They call it the like train style headlight in the front, and that looks cool. It's the classic look, but it just looks old. It makes you think, oh, okay, it's a Harley Davidson, it's old people ride them. But it's not. This Harley Davidson is like any other. I'll post a picture right now. As you can see, there is a horizontal headlight up front, and then all the like accenting parts on this bike are painted black, which really gives it that new age, younger look that you don't find all too often on a lot of Harleys. Looking at some past models that may have been similar to that, the Dyna Lowrider S had all the black and gold pieces, which a lot of people really loved. That bike was a phenomenal bike, and a lot of the dyno lovers were sad to see it go. But honestly, as I ride this bike, I'm starting to like it more and more. I initially was attracted to it as a 21-year-old because of the fact that it didn't look like your average Harley with that styling of the front headlight and the black accents all over the bike. Another cool piece of this bike is that it's got a 2:1-to-2 exhaust on it, which looks really cool. It gives it, so to say, that I guess maybe you want to call it like a more militaristic look from the olden days. But now, let's talk about the frame and the swing arm on this thing. Now, the frame and the swing arm, well, so the frame is a steel frame designed to be 75% stiffer than the prior Dyna models. I'm looking at my notes here. Which that improves the handling, braking, and performance of the bike, which makes a huge difference in regards to the way the Harley rides. As someone that's a little bit younger, when I thought of Harley, I thought of these big old boats that I didn't feel comfortable riding because they lacked in handling and maneuverability, and the weight distribution just always seemed off to me. But you don't see that on this bike. As I said before, this bike, the weight distribution and handling of this bike is just amazing. Like it pulls itself into corners. You sit in the bike with the way the seat is styled, and it really allows you to pull itself into corners. Another aspect of this bike that add to that are the thick front and rear tires. In adding a thick front and rear tire, it allows for more rubber to be on the pavement when you're turning, which allows for more maneuverability. So we're going to take a right here. But that front tire allows you to turn much easier than you possibly would without it. The other thing about this bike is, being that it is one of the new redesigned Harleys, you don't have the infamous Harley shake that you would get from some of the other previous models, which is extremely nice. Overall, though, the bike rides extremely well, and I highly enjoy riding it. Well, the price point is a little bit too expensive for someone of my age and my position, being that I'm a college senior. I probably can't afford to buy this bike brand new, but this is a bike that I could see a couple years down the road, once I have a full-time job and I'm out of college, I would totally trade in my current bike for this. The other thing I'd like to mention about this bike that I'm really enjoying while riding it is the fact that when you go over bumps, like previously I went over railroad tracks, the suspension on this thing dampened the bumps to the point that I've never felt on any other Harley before. Typically, when you would take an older Harley over bumps like that, the amount of shake and rattle that would come out of it was just not enjoyable at all. Now, some of the other nice features about this bike, so you've got the digital display for your speedo. Currently this bike has 25 miles. All those miles on it are from test drives. It says your gear rating, so I'm in 4th gear. It's got your fuel levels, and then your RPMs are up top here, as you can see. It's also got adjustable handlebars. I really like the stock fit on these handlebars, though. The way they are stock really appeals to me, honestly. It's very comfortable. I could totally ride this farther than just, I could ride this more than just around town and be fairly comfortable. That said, this seat is not meant for touring. This is not a touring bike. This is a around town, maybe 1 or 2 hour ride bike. You could certainly do it, but you would probably have to get a different seat and change some minor aspects to the bike. There's no windshield, there's not much wind dampening. The downshifts on this bike are very smooth. I haven't had any issues with shifting on this bike. Honestly, the power of this bike, I wouldn't call it an issue, but it's something that I have to get used to. I'm not used to the power of this bike. Like I said, it's a 114 engine. It's an 1800cc engine. Down by my right leg, it does get a little bit hot, but I mean, I wouldn't say that's not typical for bikes like these. So I looked up the 0 to 60 on this because I was curious. I wasn't sure what it was. I knew it was fast. I believe it's around 4 seconds, which is pretty freaking quick for a cruiser, a stock cruiser at least. All right, we're gonna inch out here. And when I say this bike has power, I mean it has some serious power. This bike, with the flick of the throttle, if you give it too much, you will 100% break the rear tire loose. It's not unmanageable though. The nice thing about this bike is that the power is there to use it. You don't have to obviously use the power, but when you want it, it is there and it will give it to you. It's one of the most, I ride a sport bike. I ride a Kawasaki 650, which is not the fastest of sport bikes, but it's still a sport bike. I'm used to sport bike handling and shifting and the lean angles that I get out of it. And honestly, like I said, this is a bike that I would consider trading in for. You have that sporty feel, but the comfortability of a cruiser, which I really highly enjoy. But yeah, so that is my review on the 114 Harley Davidson Fat Bob. I hope you guys found this useful. If some of you out there, some of you biker bros out there are looking to buy a Harley Davidson 114 Fat Bob, I highly recommend it. This bike, probably not a beginner bike by any means, but nonetheless, it is a bike that I would highly recommend for an experienced rider looking to trade up for something a little bit bigger. So now to finish out this video, I want to show you guys a little bit of what this bike can really do when you get on it. Oh baby, wow, that thing is quick. But anyways guys, thanks for watching today's motovlog bike review. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to check out my personal channels. It's Gen Z Biker on Instagram and YouTube. Also check out Wildfire Harley Davidson. Big thanks to them for lending me the bike today. Have a great day guys. Ride safe, biker bros.